Well, welcome to Manchester United video. I hope you share with me some of the great moments of the season. And what I've done is I've picked up several games over the season which I think, and I'm sure you will agree, they were absolutely enthralling, exciting and entertaining matches. Full of action, drama, controversy. So sit back and enjoy them with me. I know you will. I think when you play Wimbledon, you know you've got to stand up and be counted.
Kanchelskis has got away here, puts his eye on the goal, and he's won the game for Manchester United.
Michael has got to be marked here, and he got his head to it. Kanchelskis coming in, Elkin's header only goes to Cantona. Glorious goal!
When we played him at Old Trafford in the first game, the first half was really a nothing game. This can often happen when Wimbledon come to Old Trafford. But you've got to be patient. We got a breakthrough after half time when Gary Palliser scored from a corner kick. And they equalised right away. And then with a great piece of football down the right hand side, not shortly after they've equalised, Mark Hughes scored from a great volley from an Andrew Kanchelskis cross. Brilliant football. And the third one was so exciting when Andrew sprinted clear of him, cut in, beat two men and smacked the ball home, which was a really good result for us.
And it's a free kick to Manchester United. Taken quickly, Cantona just over the head of Barton. Here's Lee Sharp. Irwin. Sharp again. Oh, he's done well. Chance to put in a position cross, and well, it caused confusion. Fitzgerald's clearance a little bit too close to comfort. Mark Hughes was the nearest player, but it's a corner. I think Fitzgerald will be glad of that. Lee Sharp to take. Aim towards Bruce, it's a packed penalty area. Earl got the clearance, Cantona! Had the accuracy, but the power was quite there. It's the kind of effort that we expect from Eric Cantona, trying something out of nothing. Earl. To halfway where Harry Patterson saw the dummy. Holdsworth's got the pace to go past Bruce, and here he is in the great chance. And that is first-class goalkeeping. Peter Schmeichel made up his mind early and smothered the shot. And United come away with the ball. Rawlins. Wardon. Hughes. Sharp. Promising. Low drive. Good save from Sagers. Driving to his right-hand side to force it round the goal. And that came from a Peter Schmeichel save the other end. But such is the prodigious speed that United can break, that almost within a matter of seconds, United nearly had the lead. The game certainly livened up. Sharp with another corner. Bruce up there. I think fight up for offside. Mark Hughes was the man. But this is where the move started really for United, as strange as it may seem. A great save from Schmeichel, committed himself early, smothered the shot from Holdsworth, and United were off and running. Fashanu. Ince trying to just force it away from him, but Fashanu's too strong. Holdsworth, we've seen his pace, and Bruce sticking a little bit tighter to him on this occasion. It's not a bad ball in either. Earl! Well, just by the post. John Fashanu was close by, but he left it run, and Earl just came from nowhere, stole in. And the Export Vale man, looking for goals, almost finding the net. Seemed to be quite confident it was going wide. Wimbledon showing signs that they're not here to make up the numbers. Here's Lee Sharp. Can he get a shot in? He can, but it was always going to be favourable for Sagers. Sharp's pace, just able to get him away from the last defender. Robson's ball forward. Hands were raised for offside, but I don't think there was a question about that. Sharp did manage to get a shot in on target. Jumping, Earl jumping. To away in the end by Scales. Jones. Hustling from Robson and then in. United come away. Chelsea's feeding it to Cantona. Cantona sent Tony. Referee waves play on. Here's Parker. Teasing ball. Sharp. Robson was there too. And the ball just looping across the area and headed away by Fitzgerald. Applause for a rather teasing ball in. It caused sufficient confusion. Cantona taking the corner quickly, getting the ball back. Cam Chelskis now. Good for Bruce, didn't find him. Barton able to clear the lines. Parker though on halfway with time, gives it Irwin. Returns the compliment. United really just about picking up the pace and just about on top, but not the best ball forward from Lee Sharp, given away rather. It's Holdsworth. These two, Holdsworth and Bruce, have been in a few one-on-one races, and on this occasion Bruce is strong. This is out of danger before it develops. Chelskis. Cantona. Ince. Does well, Paul Ince. Great balance. Good turn of speed. Good ball too, Lee Sharp. It's in the net. The hands are up. The linesman's flag is two. The goal won't stand. Disappointment for Sharp. The Wimbledon players stepped up to try and catch the last man out. But all credit to Paul Ince. Fabulous tackling in midfield. Lovely turn of pace. Lovely little slit ball through into the area. Sharp tucked it away, but he was just offside. Yes, it's disappointment. So it remains goalless. But, all the signs are there that that's not going to be the final score. In fairness, Wimbledon have had their moments too. Here's Paul Parker. Might think of the shot. Not sure it was goal bound, but Hughes and Scales try to divert it, and the Scales have got the final touch, and it'll be a corner. Been busy with corners so far. Pallister and Cantona. Was he onside? Doesn't matter because he just thumped it into the stands, but for a moment there he was completely in the clear. A deep ball. Pallister's header. Surely Cantona was offside. Doesn't matter anyway. Trying to bring up the volume a little. Ferguson's run right on with a chance as Peter Schmeichel clears the lines with one of those enormous kicks. Now flicking on towards Hughes, away by Fitzgerald. Ashenu and Bruce. Earl. Ball in from Tallboys. The shot was not a bad one. Tipped away with the outstretched fingers. John Fashanu certainly not afraid of having a go from distance. Tallboys ball in. Nice header down, guided into the path of Fashanu, and that's his weaker foot, the left. Fine save was the only thing that denied him a goal. Into back defending, clears the lines, Pallister's back in again. Best of headers, there's a bit of more of a reaction than anything else. Schmeichel tries to hurl the bomb forward and get United going. Here's Barton for Wimbledon. Schmeichel comfortable to his midriff. Once again, a tremendous throw out to get United underway. Hughes. Searching one of Chelskis. Cantona. Sharp. Listen to the volume in the background. It's been turned up to maximum now. United fans keen for the Reds to take the lead here. Especially after those one or two anxious moments in their own half. And this effort from Fashanu was bound for the top corner. That's a great save. Chelskis, Cantona. sticking to the man. Sharp gets the ball in anyway, and it was almost allowed to go all the way through. Scales it was, and finally cleared it. Irwin. He's Sharp again. Hughes trying to send Sharp away, just got the better of Jones. In the end, Vinnie Jones was there to stop the ball getting into the box, and another Manchester United corner. Sharp has had his fair share of corners, and he leaves this one for Kanchelskis on this occasion. A little bit of variety maybe. Pallister! Goal! Well, the variety paid off. Gary Pallister's first goal of the season. Up from the back. And heading home just at a time when United really wanted that opener. And is he pleased? Well, there's been a lot of in-swingers from that side, but on this occasion it was Kanchelskis who drove it in. Pallister who met it beyond Sagers. 1-0. Deeper this time. Pallister, their scorer, it has to be said, would have enjoyed that moment. It's just what the doctor ordered for United. They've threatened, but not quite delivered. Here's Kanchelskis, try and double the advantage within a matter of moments. All the way! Off the post, with Sagers beaten. Andrei Kanchelskis, fabulous move. Cantona with a lovely layoff. Got a little bit of a kick in the ankles from behind for his troubles, but Kanchelskis was away. It's off the inside of the post. Great effort from Kanchelskis. Once he gets a sniff of goal, there's only one direction for him. Here come Wimbledon. Martin. And again. In by Holdsworth, there's danger here. There's more than that, there's an equaliser. Who else but John Fashanu? So often the scourge of Manchester United, and he's levelled the scores at 1-1 with the easiest of headers. Peter Schmeichel with a look of disgust. Side, not only of stopping the opposition, but of creating chances themselves. Kanchelskis there trying to get away from 3 challenges. Pallister probably the guilty man in the end. Here's Cantona, quickly taking free kick. Lovely ball, Hughes! Brilliant! Within 2 minutes. United back in front. Cantona, once again, if not the scorer, he's the provider. Mark Hughes, how many times have we seen him hit a volley? Parallel to the ground like that. His technique, the best in the business. Crouch, 2-1.
The great goal scored by Manchester United number 10, Mark Hughes.
That really a goal to set alight any afternoon. Wimbledon out finished. Holdsworth sent tumbling by Steve Bruce. To stamp on any retaliation. I think it is to Wimbledon. Deep signal to suddenly have some sort of routine. Schmeichel in the way though. Back in by Fitzgerald, and it had enough sting on it. Schmeichel beat it away at the first attempt, found it the second. Fashanu pats him on the back, and there was an offside flag up anyway. Martin hurling it in. There was 3 men round Schmeichel. His presence was enough to deny him first time, then he was big enough to gather the pieces up before Fashanu could pounce. Away by Sagers. Hughes battling. Holdsworth. Caught by Ince, referee waves play on. Fashanu. Lovely tackle from Pallister. Ince comes away with the ball for United. Men to the left and right. Ince might go alone. Tries one, all on the ground. Sagers carefully putting his body in the way. Another fine run from the Manchester United midfielder. Sagers there, forced to make a rather hurried kick and go all the way back to his opposite number. United 2, Wimbledon 1. I don't think that they will rest on that. It's too much of a fine cushion to have against the likes of Wimbledon. It's not in United's nature to sit back and just relax, and here's Lee Shaw to try and change that scoreline now. Good save from Sagers. Hughes couldn't quite force in the rebound, and in the end Scales managed to clear the danger. Shaw diving in, lovely firm drive along the floor, good save from Sagers, and the rebound tantalisingly past the outstretched boot of Hughes. Save that from Sagers. That'll have given his side, not only himself, plenty of confidence to try and get back in Manchester United. It is again Sagers. Alistair, Strong, Earl, Fashanu. And still, Ince with a tackle. Breaks for Holdsworth. Schmeichel making it look easy. Thinking about one of those long ranges. Occasion halted in his tracks. By his standards, a rather tame throw out. Robson to Cantona. Kanchelskis. Oh, he's got away. Andrei Kanchelskis wins the game. Virtually out of nothing. A sudden turn of pace. It was far too much for the defender near him. Fitzgerald it was who was left one-on-one with the Russian, but once he gets into full stride, there are few players in the game who can keep up with him. And once he saw the sight of goal, you knew the result. Look at him go. Incredible turn of speed, great balance, and a fine finish. 3-1 Manchester United.
Do you remember much about the goal itself?
Yeah, I think I rose above Fash and batted it in from about 20 yards. I don't know. No, I just remember the ball coming over. Fash got under it a bit and managed to get my head to it. And thankfully, Sagers wasn't too alive to the situation, and it crept underneath him. They came looking for a draw maybe in that game, and as we've done on a couple of occasions this year, we've struggled to break teams down who've come and defended like that. And so it was maybe going to take a set piece or something like that to bring the game out, you know what I mean, to spark it into life. And luckily I was able to get in the end of one that day.
Furthest forward is Robbie Earl at the moment. The ball rather died after Bruce had let it run. Fortunately for United, Schmeichel was alert enough to get there first. Blackwell. Leclerc. Time for Fashanu just to turn and assess what's on. Leaving it for Jones. Gale goes infield, leaving the space for Elkins. Now, can they get a good cross here to use Fashanu's strengths? He's forced it in. Schmeichel fumbled down by the near post, and John Fashanu has scored for Wimbledon. Manchester United, a goal down at Selhurst Park in the 22nd minute.
It's a bad mistake from Peter Schmeichel. The goalkeeper of his quality should be gathering that easily, Martin. He lets it drop and Fashanu does the business. But I tell you, they worked the ball really well on this side. Marcus Gale made a great run infield. And by doing that, that created the space for Elkins to get in there. He nicks it near post. You see the goalkeeper, it bounces in front of him, but it is a bread and butter catch for him in all honesty. And he'll be disappointed he hasn't collected that. The one thing in recent games that these two have played here at Selhurst Park, I don't think Wimbledon have enjoyed is a lead. Mark, they've always lost the early goal against Manchester United, and United have grown from there. The big difference today is they've gone one up.
Alistair. Flicked off something, and it's a corner.
Well, they look very calm, the goalkeeper. I don't know how close this goes. Hits it well, clips off Vinnie Jones, I tell you, it's very, very close. Love becomes, needs no encouragement. It's the faintest of nicks.
Bruce. Kanchelskis. Earl. It's run away though. McClare. And again, he's made it his, Brian McClare. Dublin! Oh, unlucky because he swept it goalwards with plenty of hope that he might have manufactured an equaliser. It went straight at Sagers.
This is all you can do in this situation. You can't put any power into this because the power's all in the ball. Now you have to just direct it and be lucky. He directs it well enough, but Hans Sagers has found himself in a very handy position at the near post. It's a good ball in. Dublin does all he can, but the goalkeeper's up to it.
Pallister. Sharp. Now Giggs. Wimbledon fighting to get to that first. It was Earl who made it. Back it'll come again from Sharp. No nonsense this time. Straightforward cross. Asking for Dublin to fight for it. He does on the second time. McClare!
Inches. And I mean inches away from giving him the equaliser. They don't quite clear the lines here. You watch this, Dublin gets up there, makes his presence felt. And I think the only reason this doesn't nestle in the top corner is it was just on the rise after bouncing when McClare made contact. But it was Dublin's aerial ability in there that kept the pressure on.
Owen hangs up the corner. Pallister pops it in. Dublin tried to dig it out and dug it too high.
It's never easy that when it arrives in a crowded penalty area. Sometimes you get more time than you realise. And I don't know whether Dion Dublin had time to take a touch on this. Breaks him quick. No, I don't think he did. Perhaps it needed someone with a quick feet of Ryan Giggs to be in that position. But it wasn't an easy chance for Dion Dublin.
Giggs. Hughes. Now Kanchelskis. So many United players are forward here. Mark Hughes is one of those. Oh! Goal not given. Paul Ince.
Flag's up, Martin, down in the corner. Linesman's got his flag up. I certainly think it was a free kick. Ince on the goalkeeper. Feet were definitely high. But we'll see whether there's any offside here, whether that's why the linesman's flag goes up. Look at Paul Ince. Is it him? Is it Dion Dublin? Yeah, I think there's a couple of them offside. But look at that. Whatever decision it was, that's a free kick.
Terry Holbrook pointed for that, and I think disallowed it. Now, whether the linesman, in any case, as you spotted, Andy, would have ruled it out for offside. Irwin. Ince. Corner. Paul Ince, of course, got that equaliser against Blackburn at about this stage, back at the Christmas period when Peter Schmeichel came up for the corner. Schmeichel's only come up as far as the centre circle here. Giggs curls it in. Wimbledon, who are masters themselves at crowding the penalty area at their own set pieces.
Here's the goalkeeper.
Here comes Schmeichel. Will it work again like it did at Old Trafford? Schmeichel has got to be marked here. And he got his head to it.
I don't believe it.
Well, you can't catch your breath here at that.
Well, he came up, and if you're going to come up, then do something. And he did. And I bet he's annoyed with Steve Bruce, or Steve Bruce is annoyed with him. I don't know, because they clashed, see that? And he just knocked Schmeichel forward, and it made him mistime the header. He'll probably be having a word with his captain after the game.
They changed their whole system for us, Wimbledon. Where they went up what everyone's been doing, the three in the middle of the park, made it difficult for us, and they got the goal, their first attack, and they've scored. And after that it was a siege in their goal, but nothing came of it. We had one or two little moments in the second half, but in the main it was a disappointing performance by us, in the first half in particular. Second half at least there was tremendous energy spent by us and a great effort to try and get back in the game.
give in it to give some comfort to the players. Wimbledon wound up looking for a cyclonic start. But beneath all the bluster, I can tell you they have a very healthy respect for Manchester United. They know they have to perform to their game plan to seek out success here and not let the likes of Hughes settle on the ball, supported by Ince. The fast start coming from Alex Ferguson's man. Hughes has the shot. Just when it looked, one or two of the Wimbledon players were wondering about a whistle.
I have to say it's wonderful refereeing from David Ellery. He could easily have given a free kick there, but he spots quickly that Hughes has got an opportunity. And Hans Segers almost makes a mess of it.
Over the crowd, and the whistle is gone.
It's one of those occasions, though, that what Wimbledon have got to be careful about, that it doesn't get to them. I'm sure it won't. But it can so easily pass them by. They're so wound up for it that they don't do themselves justice.
Wimbledon in particular know all about Mark Hughes. He scored more goals against them than any other Manchester United player, although Gary Pallister has popped in a couple, including one this season at Old Trafford in a 3-1 win. Jones. Fashanu trying to get height into the lead, but Pallister, who invariably picks him up in these contests, got there first. Keane. Now this is where Wimbledon have got to watch out in how their three in midfield effectively handle the four of Manchester United. Well, that's one way to do it, but the referee won't let that go on. Jones on Keane. Segers has already made one fine save. Pallister and Irwin having a long look. Irwin takes, and reminiscent of that fine strike at Anfield earlier in the year.
Nothing wrong with the power. Certainly nothing wrong at all with that, except about 6 feet too high. But it's a warning. Dennis Irwin's confident enough to try it for almost anywhere at the moment.
Away to Sheffield United in the third round, away to Norwich City in the fourth, and now another test of strength at Selhurst Park. Well, Paul Parker coming across, dragged across by the run from left to right by Gary Blissett.
Well, you can expect lots of this today. Lots of pressure whenever they can, in and around Manchester United's 18-yard box.
John Scales right in there. And Fashanu's header stopped on the line itself by the dive of Schmeichel. Kanchelskis gets the better of Gary Elkins. Fitzgerald is drawn across. Hughes coming in. Wimbledon had players scuttling back from the set piece in the other half.
But that long throw in from Vinnie Jones will give them some confidence. I can't help thinking, though, a better header from John Fashanu, and he may have put his team one up. You can see he didn't get an awful lot into it, and what he did get into it, half the pace was taken off it by Gary Pallister's back, and that made the save easy.
Well, Fashanu, part of this three-pronged attack, which performed so well against Newcastle last weekend in a 4-2 win. Dean Holdsworth was another scorer in that game, as Fashanu was, and indeed Gary Blissett, who by background is a Manchester City fan. Hughes, plenty of room for Giggs. Kanchelskis coming into the centre. Corner.
So that's where it's dangerous, Martin, in this formation that Joe has. And that when the ball's switched like that to either wide player, they really have got a 1-against-1 situation, which is absolutely right for either of them to go at.
Giggs with the corner. Headed on by Pallister, but behind.
Well, it's been a bright, lively start to the match. Again, Pallister gets in here. But what you would say is pretty much a free header. Just enough pressure from John Fashanu.
It's the first meeting in the FA Cup between the two clubs, but plenty of players out here this afternoon will remember a League Cup tie 5 years ago at Foul Lane. Wimbledon won it 2-1, a rugged affair which ended notoriously with a clash in the tunnel between John Fashanu and Viv Anderson. But as you say, Andy, the appeal of the game, obviously there from the draw itself, but in the way it's being mapped out by the two camps, Wimbledon have come with an aggressive attacking philosophy, playing the three strikers, leaving a man light in midfield, which we've seen already is suiting the strengths of Manchester United. Peter Fear, former youth team captain here. Hughes. Giggs. Here's Parker. Cantona coming deep to collect, but not collected.
When you think that Joking here is really taking a gamble, and that's what he's doing with the three front men, you can bet your life that Robbie Earle will be bombing forward, and even Vinnie Jones has started quite far forward. It's ideal for Manchester United to soak it up and break very quickly, and there's no better team in the land at doing that than Manchester United at the moment.
Fashanu playing for an obstruction that wasn't given. Keeper is just standing his ground. Particularly a challenging cup tie for him, and he's been flattened after the ball had gone by Hughes. David Ellery noticed it. Whether he'll do anything about it when the game stops, we must wait and see. It's not stopped yet. Gary Elkins actually being spoken to now by the referee, presumably the message, and he saw what happened. Keeping an eye on Mark Hughes and that particular type of challenge. Hughes going in again. Jones didn't flinch. Wouldn't have expected that, would you?
But they'll take that. Wimbledon, they'll take throw-ins, anything from 30 yards out. They'll take free kicks, they'll take corners.
Holdsworth. Gets it in quickly. Manchester United have got to be aware of that. Robbie Earle, Fashanu, the three attackers close to each other there in a dangerous triangle. Jones, not so much available in wider positions. He'll be back by Fitzgerald. If Wimbledon really show signs of mixing it, Manchester United have got plenty of strong men in their own ranks. Kanchelskis. Cantona steering it off, and Kanchelskis is away. Hughes going for the near post. Giggs coming in behind him, doesn't reach either of them. The covering there was by Warren Barton, and it was of a high order.
It needed to be of a high order as well, Martin. And Mark Hughes, we know he's got great body strength, and he was using it, but Warren Barton was not going to be moved.
Well, talking about body strength, Fashanu using his, a black belt in the martial arts. The red shirts, incidentally, we should point out that Wimbledon aren't allowed to wear their normal dark blue kit in cup ties. It's too near the black of referees in this competition, so red has become their FA Cup colour. Has been in the two previous rounds against Scunthorpe and Sunderland. They're very happy to wear it, of course, to make Manchester United change. Michael putting the ball forward quickly, and Cantona was caught. By Parker. Wimbledon have worked this week in trying to stop Schmeichel releasing the ball quickly. They know the counter-attacks so often start for Manchester United right from the back.
How'd you do that unless you jump on him? That's what I want to know.
I don't rule that out. Jones being told to get on with it.
Tell you what, it was a smashing throw-in. Great trajectory.
Well, there you had Schmeichel trying to clear it quickly and in fact doing it, but he was fouled in the act.
I think they'll quite happily do that. Concede free kicks in United's 6-yard box to avoid Schmeichel releasing it quickly, but that type of throw is always going to cause him problems. You see Steve Bruce using all his experience here and just backing into John Scales.
Knocked off by Cantona. Safety first by Fitzgerald. A bit of a disagreement there with Barton. Wimbledon needs to get their minds now on the marking at the corner. Short route by Manchester United. Now we have a throw. To be taken by Andrei Kanchelskis. Wimbledon have pulled everyone back. Plenty of time for Parker. Hughes. I think half caught there with the thought of teeing himself up and then seeing Steve Bruce better placed.
Well, I'm amazed at the amount of space they allow Mark Hughes here. They both back off him. Fitzgerald doesn't do a thing. And really, Mark Hughes had time to take it into his stride if he wanted to.
But it was a sort of set-up, more associated perhaps with Wimbledon. But can be effective when used by Manchester United, of course. They're quite capable of knocking it long as well as building through midfield as they try to do now. Irwin. Fitzgerald coming out to challenge Cantona. Needs some cover in the centre and it may not be there. Roy Keane going on, going down, play on. Wimbledon didn't plug the gap. One of their centre-backs had chased Cantona right back beyond the halfway line. And there was space for the runner from midfield, Roy Keane. It ended in a heap inside the penalty area, but not in a penalty.
This is all about Roy Keane. Look at the way he chests the ball down and completely loses Robbie Earl. And suddenly the gap's there, but what about Gary Elkins? That's a magnificent tackle. May have been the wrong foot. Normally you'd expect the right foot, the left leg to come round, but he goes in with his left leg, but he gets away with it. Makes great contact with the ball. And that gives the rest of the Wimbledon defence time to scramble it clear.
Parker. David Ellery will have to defuse it here. Jones on Cantona. A lot of United players wanted to defend the Frenchman's honour.
Well, that's balmy. How can you defend Vinnie Jones, though, Martin? It's absolutely balmy. Makes no attempt to go for the ball. It's crude, it's high. All that remains to be seen is just how serious David Ellery takes it.
Wimbledon, it might surprise you to know, have not had a player sent off all season. But David Ellery did show the red card to Vinnie Jones when he was a Sheffield United player. I will suggest it's a yellow one here. Well, any other discretion of that nature, and there can only be one outcome. Kanchelskis. Irwin. Ince. McAllister move on and have a shot. Not particularly encouraged to do that. patient game from United, finally crossed in by Giggs. Oh, can Hughes convert it here? Barton got to it. Jones eases it down. Anywhere will do for Peter Fear. Wimbledon hanging on by a thread then. And Warren Barton got back. Otherwise, Mark Hughes would have been putting Manchester United into the lead.
Warren Barton got back, and Hans Sager's got lucky. He's down on the ground, look at that. Had he not hit his leg there, Mark Hughes would have had a simple tap in. They load the luck.
Parker.
It was a good patient build-up. For the first time in the match, United took their time and movement. Wimbledon had 11 men behind the ball, but United were patient until Giggs felt the opportunity was there to put in a telling cross.
Well, you don't go 31 games unbeaten without being able to stand the test against a team that wants to approach the cup tie in a whirlwind style. Ince. Freshner had that early header saved, otherwise not too much in the attacking sense for Joe Kinnear to cheer. For the winners of this fifth round tie, match in the quarter-finals against the winners of Bristol City or Charlton. And Cantona and Fashanu in a very gentle gesture there. No reaction, no retaliation. Free kick to Wimbledon. Now this is where Manchester United may feel some concern. Not short of height in their own ranks. Wimbledon have got Blissett coming in from the back post. Holdsworth making a run across the face of the goal. Earl and Fashanu trying to be involved as well, but the flag is up for offside.
What Manchester United did well is they kept Wimbledon out at the edge of the 18-yard box. Wimbledon love to back teams off. Love to back them back and top the goalkeeper as much as possible. Look how far out they are. They're out at the edge of the 18-yard box. If they put one up above the penalty spot, then Peter Schmeichel could come and get it. And if they put it where they put it, it's going to take some header to score from that range.
Well, that was the free kick that Wimbledon were working on Friday morning against a group of their own youngsters who defended much deeper than Manchester United did, so it wasn't a proper rehearsal.
The test of that free kick comes, Mark, when it's about 10-15 yards further upfield, level with the 18-yard box.
It's another free kick. Played short for Barton to try and batter goalwards.
Well, they're not happy with that because that was an ideal opportunity from where the free kick was taken to actually put it in round about the 6-yard area and have his three big strikers plus John Scales going after it.
There's a real chatterbox on the bench is Joe. FA Cup winner, of course, with Spurs back in 1967. As a player. Parker. Hughes. Now Irwin. Cantona has come out of the middle. There's an option for Ince. Giggs. Majority of Manchester United supporters on the bank behind the goal that Sagers is guarding at the moment. Cantona. Parker. It's a useful cross. Cantona! Trying to guide it back inside that far post as we look and as he looked.
Well, he's been on the edge of the game so far, but in that one moment he played the pass wide and immediately made his way into the danger area. Wasn't an easy header, but you can see what he's trying to do. He's looking to go back the way it came. The thing to do, not only does it give you a chance of scoring that side, but if one of your teammates is coming in on the header, they've got a chance of tapping it in.
Here's Fear. Fashion was coming back. Holdsworth, who got a hat-trick in the third round against Scunthorpe. Pallister. Owen. There's a relaxed look about Manchester United in possession now. He's got it through for Hughes. Looks down at the pitch rather ruefully. And over the last 15 minutes, it's just been looking a little ominous for Wimbledon, but it's 0-0 with 5 minutes to go to half-time.
I think Joe Kinnear would be anxious to get them in at half-time. I think before the game, if you'd offered Joe 0-0 at half-time, I think he would have snapped your hand off. But it does look ominous, I have to agree with that. You just get the feeling it's a matter of when, as far as Manchester United are concerned, rather than if.
Cantona did well to get it to Hughes. Wimbledon closed in on him. Well, in Alec Ferguson's time, there have been some problems against Wimbledon for Manchester United. Remember, Wimbledon are still the last club to win at Old Trafford. But Wimbledon have managed just that one win in the last 10 league meetings. And United have had a happy habit of winning here since Wimbledon switched their base to Selhurst Park. They're not yet in front, despite playing the more controlled, the more classy football than what we've seen so far. And one thing you can be sure is that Wimbledon, if they're feeling any pressure and any adversity, they're the sort of side that get bound together by those situations. But the booking for Jones has made him tread a much more careful path. Manchester United have been helped by that. They're the bosses in midfield at the moment. Gerwin. Chelskis coming in. Elkins' header only goes to Cantona. Glorious goal! 2 minutes before half-time, and what can you do about that? Wimbledon had no answer.
Quite amazing. It's not a great header defensively. You can see how Gary Elkins is struggling. He needs a call. He needs his goalkeeper to help him, or he needs a far better header. But from that, it's all about the magic of Eric Cantona. Watch the way he just backs away, takes one touch to set it up. And what about the quality of the volley? Quite sensational. Look at that. One to admire, time and time again. And that's the answer.
Well, at Carrow Road in the last round, he was in the headlines for the wrong reason. You can say and write all you like about that. Nothing but the good of the game, unless you're a die-hard Wimbledon fan. And even then, I think you have to have grudging admiration. As Manchester United were measurably improving as the half has developed, they've crowned their spell of supremacy with a stunning strike. The new captain of France, he led his country to a win in Italy on Wednesday. That takes some doing. As he inspired here to another victory for Manchester United.
A little lesson as well, looking at Gary Elkins there, Mark. It's a lesson for any kids watching. You know, you look at defenders, when a cross like that's coming in, You could tell he didn't want to give a corner away. That would have been the simple and probably the sensible thing to do, because he was under pressure. And had he just nodded it for a corner, and his team could have gathered there and they could have defended that properly.
Well, it's a shame in a way for Elkins, because he'd been thoroughly examined in the way the match had shaped up before then, and passed the examination. Manchester United bear down on Wimbledon again. Fitzgerald trips Giggs, and David Ellery now has called Scott Fitzgerald across.
Well, this is
will hand out the punishment
for Giggs, isn't it? Full pace, 1 against 1 with a defender. And I don't think Scott Fitzgerald makes any attempt to go for the ball here. Giggs has passed him, and all he's doing is taking Giggs out the play. He's a lucky boy.
We're in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Ince wide.
Nothing wrong with the strike. Straight forward. It's the set up for Paul Ince for the strike. Just drags it a little bit left the target. Well, it was important for Joe Kinnear to get his team in at 0-0 at half-time, Martin. They haven't been able to do that because of the brilliance of that man.
Something very special indeed, but plenty of justice in the scoreline for Alec Ferguson. Manchester United growing and growing as the half developed. At half-time here, it's Wimbledon 0, Manchester United 1.
As everyone said at the time, it was our best performance of the season, away from home, and the goals were unbelievable goals. I mean, the first goal from Eric Cantona, as the ball comes out and he's kept up with, was to get his balance right, he's just kept up off the ground and volleyed it the roof of the net. It's unbelievable goal.
Wimbledon have made their reputation by their reaction in difficulties against the odds. Well, the odds look against them here and in this attack. Before Joe Kinnear could get back to the bench, it was almost 2-0. Keane. Kanchelskis, Parker.
It's the one area I feel that Paul Parker lets himself down in too often at that level. It's a wonderful opportunity for him now. Look at the huge gap there. Now watch Hughes. He wants it near post. And that's poor quality for an international defender. I think that's something that Paul, even with all his experience, still has to work on.
Well, Wimbledon showing early signs of sticking to the initial plan in attack. They've kept the 3 strikers in that unit. That hasn't really troubled Manchester United. The option from the bench to take one of them off and get Andy Clark on wide on the left. Irwin, pursued by Fear. Fitzgerald. Cantona waited for the tackle, and Kingston disappointed. Fashioner trying to force the play for Wimbledon. Blissett keeping going. Cantona able to turn and confront Wimbledon again. Looking to bend it in behind scales for Hughes. It's forced him a little bit wide. Still Hughes. Still Hughes and Sagers, who really committed himself to cut out the cross.
Needed a sand eye on there, didn't he, Mark Hughes? Really got that close to the line, that close to Sagers. Desperately trying to dig it out.
United forced back initially by Sagers coming a long way to kick the ball. There are those who study the game closely who believe that maybe a law amendment should be put in place to stop goalkeepers doing that. Let's get a quick word from Nick Collins.
Thanks, Martin. Joe Kinnear, the Wimbledon manager, says they are very unhappy about the Eric Cantona goal. They all feel that Kanchelskis was offside. We spoke to Rob Harris, the linesman, and he confirms he did see Kanchelskis but just didn't think he was interfering.
Fair enough.
See, I don't think the linesman should have that authority to do that, Mark, from his angle. He really should.
Jones now preparing to take a throw in front of Manchester United followers. Something happened here for Wimbledon, who specialise in getting their set plays into the right areas. And often they stumble and muddle the ball into the net.
Well, I think it's the first corner that Manchester United have had to face in the match so far.
To be taken by Elkins. Defended well by Ince. That's where they've been working on not playing the ball into Schmeichel's hands. Hughes lofting it neatly for Keane. Giggs through the centre. Kanchelskis beyond him, coming in now and not making contact. Distracted perhaps by Barton's attempts to reach the ball for Wimbledon.
Well, had it not been for Warren Barton, this is one of the balls of the season for me that he's attempted there, but a fine touch by Warren Barton was just enough to take it away from Kanchelskis. Great vision from Roy Keane, it really was.
Bruce rather turned his back, the ball's gone back to Giggs, who's offside. Steve Bruce, of course, has cause to remember the 5th round last season when Manchester United went out at Bramall Lane and Bruce missed a penalty. They've not got beyond the 5th round, in fact, since they won the FA Cup in 1990. Giggs. Cantona. Scales was a bit lucky, it was a miss if it went straight to Earl. He only presents possession to Parker. Keane. Oh, and it's run on for Giggs. Oh, off the goalkeeper, off the post. Back to Hughes. And then Jones played the ball. It looked an absolutely surefire 2-0 lead for Manchester United.
Well, normally you'd be saying wonderful goalkeeping, but I think it's a terrible miss from Ryan Giggs. I almost think Hans Sagers had given it up, Martin. As the ball was played through, I thought Warren Barton was going to have trouble with the spin on this if he let it bounce. That's what happened. Spin defeats him. Now it's a case of take your pick. Hans Sagers has gone back and back and back, and Ryan Giggs just smashes it straight against him. He could have picked his spot anywhere.
The goal's still shaky. Decent. Couldn't get there against Parker. He stopped, in fact, hoping for a free kick. Oh, now he's brought down by Ince. And one or two Wimbledon words at the referee there saying, hang on a minute, you've been quick enough to get the card out for our players.
And Paul Ince, I think, was making one or two gestures. He felt that Gary Blissett made a bit much of that. I have to say I agree with him. I don't think Paul Ince put too much into the tackle.
Well, this is a chance for Wimbledon. Sights of Peter Schmeichel's goal have been few and far between. Barton with the hand raised. Elkins, problems for Wimbledon here. Manchester United charging forward en masse in support of Andrei Kanchelskis. Keane on the edge of the area. Oh, that might have nestled in the bottom corner, a la the 4th round at Norwich City.
Yeah, look at Ryan Giggs. He was desperate for an early ball, and look at his disappointment. He turns away in disgust. I think that Kanchelskis looked up a little earlier, and all he needed to do was roll it across for Ryan Giggs.
Half an hour to go. Giggs with the corner. Cleared by Holdsworth. Kanchelskis. It's all in front of Paul Parker. And now Dennis Irwin. Cantona. Well, John Norbury, the linesman. Well, it's a throw. And I think there's a flag for a free kick in the first place. Ince has the shot. And Wimbledon might have been wondering about a linesman again, as they were when Cantona scored. It's still not quite been sorted out, I don't think.
Well, they would have had a case here, because you can see the linesman pointing to the ground there. He definitely gave a free kick, flagged for a free kick. Obviously, David Ellery didn't understand the signal clearly, because he let the throw-in be taken. And I'll tell you, that nestled in the top corner. And Joe Kinnear really would have had reason to be grieved.
Wimbledon have got Andy Clark warming up. Player who had trials with Manchester United. Played a reserve game. Alec Ferguson decided not to take him on. And Clark was with Barnet. Shortly after that he moved to Wimbledon. And shortly after that he scored in a Wimbledon win at Old Trafford. Giggs. Scale sees it coming. But Manchester United tried to step up. Getting offside, the ball was deflected in any case. Giggs. Cantona. Hughes. And over. Just for a second, it looked as though it might drop back into play, and Giggs was hoping that it would.
That was a fine save. Look at the perfection in the ball from Cantona. That wasn't a big area you had to pick out for Mark Hughes, but he picked it out beautifully. Encouraging Hughes to go for the top corner, and Sagers had to be at his best.
Another corner. It was another United attack in which Wimbledon were chasing the shadows. Ince! 2-0! Paul Ince! It was on the cards, and Hans Sagers and company must feel now that their FA Cup adventure is over, and Manchester United are moving on into the quarter-finals.
Well, there's no doubt in my mind they're looking for Gary Pallister at the near post, but Paul Ince makes a run in behind him. Go in behind a big man, and sometimes you get the drops. That's what Paul Ince does. Pallister misses it. Ince is right behind him, and that's a very fine header.
Barton. Flag is up. And David Ellery initially pointed for a goal kick, but it had to be a corner off the deflection.
And this is a major change in this game in the next 5 or 10 minutes, Martin. Wimbledon, I'm afraid, are on their way out of this year's FA Cup.
So much importance for Wimbledon on this corner, taken by Elkins. Up was Pallister again. Parker. Holding off Fashanu. Kanchelskis. They're ripping Wimbledon apart again. Well, somewhat selfish from Kanchelskis in the end. There was no one coming in at the far post if it was a shot come cross.
That was a shot, Martin. It was a shot.
It was a shot.
Well, the question at the moment, and that's why Wimbledon have got to dig deep, is how many United are going to win by.
Keane. Will it come for Hughes? It does. Even with a 2-goal cushion, none of the fighters come out of Mark Hughes.
So look, if we watch Paul Ince here, he makes that run in behind Gary Pallister. That's who they're aiming for. And all he does is stick his head on the ball. All the pace is on the corner. All he has to find is direction, and he finds that very well indeed.
It's been a good few days for Paul Ince, because you would feel, as a disciple of Brian Robson, he's spoken many times about the good influence that Robson's had on his play with Manchester United. Now, of course, Brian is in the England setup. There he is, and Ince, I think in particular, will reap even more reward from the partnership at that level. He was just trying to slide it inside the post. Not quite enough pace to prevent Schmeichel making the save.
For the first time in the match, they were a little bit sloppy at the back, Manchester United, a little bit slow to react to the situation. Peter Fear was unlucky. You could see what he was trying to do, but didn't quite connect properly with the shot.
Ooh la la.
Well, even if it goes to an opponent, they love it.
Well, you can love it when you're 2-0 up, can't you? And he's, of course, had a major hand in that. Well, you know all about Wimbledon, and you won't expect a timid response here. But the fact of the matter is, at the three-quarter mark, they've been outclassed. They're 2-0 down. Giggs. There's such a sharpness about United. Sagers was a bit slow starting to come, perhaps realising that there was enough pace on the ball in any case, but he wasn't absolutely sure, was he? Otherwise he'd have stayed at home.
That was, again, a wonderful break from Manchester United. It really was. Must be frightening to teams watching to see them under such pressure 1 minute, and then within a matter of 10 seconds they're having an attempt at the other end with 3, 4, sometimes 5 players up in the attack. The options are frightening. They really are. When they break, I mean, they're so spoiled. Normally if you have a couple of options as a player, you're very thankful. Sometimes the ball arrives at a green and yellow shirt and has got 3 and 4 players running off him.
And who heads it away? Gary Pallister for the umpteenth time. Cantona has got 2 to the right. Kanchelskis is one of them. Parker. Keane. They're queuing up here. Ince. Cantona. Ince involves Giggs on the left.
It's
Now
keep ball.
Owen.
Keep ball, Martin. Come and get it if you want it.
There's the acceleration. Oh, this is absolutely fantastic. Dennis Irwin. The whole cup tie summed up in an instant. The superior side absolutely stunning the opposition.
Well, I've been sitting here beside you applauding this goal because it was quite breathtaking. They played a little bit of keep ball, they kept possession, they sucked them out, and suddenly Dennis Irwin injected the pace that you've come to expect from their attacks, showed wonderful composure and just stuffs it into the net. But I tell you what, all before that was quite wonderful. Quite a joy to watch. Just count how many passes were involved in it. You know, and leisurely go through it at the end of the game, because it was astounding. It really was.
And the goal was scored by the left back. And now Alec Ferguson, his player's mind not turning to next Wednesday, but maybe the manager is thinking along those lines.
Well, that's exactly what he's doing. Game's won. Cup tie's over here. Manchester United, barring a miracle, are into the next round. And Alex knows that. He's bringing off two of his very important players that he's going to need on Wednesday night. And he's given two squad players a game, and that's good to see.
The very loyal Brian McClare and Dion Dublin, who's had very few chances, of course. Kanchelskis chasing, and he's got there. Fitzgerald in the end gets his goal kick.
That's incredible. Peter Schmeichel so alive and alert to all the running that was going on ahead of him. And the pace of Kanchelskis.
Well, sometimes you and I get stopped on our travels by fans who say, why do you take the cameras so often to cover Manchester United? I'd like to think that United themselves have given us something of an answer to those comments. It's been an exhibition in the second half. And you don't often see that with the game still going on. That tells you how relaxed Manchester United are. And how much in control they've been really since Wimbledon were stopped from getting into their stride early on. The battle had to be won by United in that sense, and certainly Bruce and Pallister were stern in the physical confrontations against some early crosses. The referee, of course, has been a key figure as well, who's absolutely stood no nonsense from Wimbledon. Elkins. Wimbledon have got a lot of players forward here, including Jones, including Earl, but it's Bruce who gets there before him. Brian McClare, of course, was in the side that won the FA Cup in 1990. Ince was also. Diggs. They're toying with the opposition. Oh, dear, oh dear. Time for the party pieces. Passionate. Well, the one talking point from Wimbledon's point of view afterwards will be the first goal, and whether the flag should have gone up. Holsworth.
At times you tend to overlook defenders when you're looking at a side like Manchester United, but I do think the back four have defended very well indeed for Alex Ferguson's side. When they've had to defend deep, they've competed and they've headed the ball, which you would expect. But they've mixed it very well. They've pushed up and caught John Fashanu, Dean Holdsworth and Gary Blissett offside half a dozen times. And that's got their strikers then thinking. And I think the back four have done their job, and Alex Ferguson will be just as delighted with their contribution as he will have been with the likes of Cantona and Giggs and Kanchelskis and Ince.
Just to remind you, Manchester United will play either Bristol City or Charlton in the quarter-finals, unless, of course, Wimbledon pull off one of the recoveries of all time. Liverpool, of course, did wipe out a 3-goal deficit. They had a lot more time to do it, and in truth, they had a lot more quality to do it with as well. In the Premiership in January. Wimbledon do have a corner. Just over 10 minutes to go.
No, honestly, man, apart from John Fashanu's early header, which he didn't quite connect with properly, I don't remember Peter Schmeichel having too much to do.
Variety to the corner this time. Schmeichel has something to do with the punch. There was just that save from Peter Fear, wasn't there, in the second half as well. Now the counter-attack is well and truly launched again. McClare. Wasn't an easy bounce. Keane was closest following in, but Sager's not discomforted. Fashanu with a flick. It's concentration the problem for Manchester United now, perhaps more than anything else.
Defenders have goals as well, though. Clean sheets. And that's why it's just as difficult now for Wimbledon to score as it's ever been. The back four won't want to concede, neither will Peter Schmeichel. They're being totally exposed in both wide areas now. I feel sorry for both fullbacks, Warren Barton and Gary Elkins at times, because they're just flooding into those big gaps where they have no midfield players in front of them to protect them.
Kanchelskis. Jones. David Ellery slowly covers the ground towards the Wimbledon number 4, who runs away from the scene of the crime and runs past the referee as well. Fans now taunting Jones. Ince. Well, it's as though they're playing with 14 men. Irwin, now Giggs. All Barton can do is boot it forward at Blissett, more central at the moment. Time for another calm intervention from Pallister. Well, we expected a whirlwind from Wimbledon. It's all been a breeze for Manchester United. Jones wanting to shake Ince's hand. Ince with an instant reaction that wasn't quite as friendly. Oh. Fashanu finally flicked it on for himself to chase. Dublin. Of course, was involved with Cambridge United in 2 splendid FA Cup runs. Twice they got to the quarter-final, and the 5th round was something of Dion's speciality. In 2 years back-to-back, he scored 5 goals in the 5th round of the FA Cup in total. But trying to show that Wimbledon can run with the ball as well as direct it forward with attempted long passes. McClare, good time to come on. Kanchelskis. Manchester United showing no signs of slackening despite the double substitution. Perhaps because of the double substitution. Bruce. It's long since ceased to be a contest. It's a masterclass at the moment. Ince giving anyone a header. Parker. Dublin. Keane. McClare behind Fear. Giggs in the centre. Oh, deflected towards the goal and not into it by Barton. Sagers was straining to cover the near post. Could easily have been 4.
Well, moves like this deserve to end in a goal. Again, it was wonderful play. You can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to just feed it in across the edge of the 6-yard box. But either Dublin or Giggs, I'd like to see him just put his foot behind the ball and smash it there.
Holdsworth. Again, Gary Pallister making it look effortless, which of course it hasn't been. Ince losing out, Fear snapping in. Holsworth. Elkins.
Talk about not
To
being
Wimbledon.
easy, Martin, but what has given them the right to enjoy this last 5 or 10, 15 minutes of this match has been what they've put in to the opening 75 minutes. They've earned the right to be 3 ahead. They've earned the right to have all this space and time on the ball.
Well, if they were favourites for the FA Cup before this, what about the odds now? And that's not taking into account the FA Carling Premiership and the Coca-Cola Cup as well. Chelskis. And a slip fair. Knocked away by Scales. That's who scored the second goal. Trying to aspire a fourth for Manchester United. Keane. But again, they're not just settling for keeping the ball. Ince, Dublin, claiming and getting the corner.
What a great run from Paul Ince this late in the game. Strong, powerful, incisive.
John Scales.
I think while he's having a treatment on, just watch this. Here's an example of just how quickly. Look how many green and yellow shirts are actually in the penalty area. And now watch this. Goes to Giggs and they're away. And they've now got 5 against 4 up there, and it's only too much weight in the pass that brings it to an end. And that's the difficulty sides have playing against this Manchester United side. They'll break away and destroy you.
Dublin. Well, they scored from a quite fantastic volley here. They scored from a set piece. They scored from a multi-pass move. Well, there'll be no hard feelings about the fouls now. Almost a token tackle by Dean Holsworth. Plenty of pace. Segers for a second, as though he might be deceived. The kick comes off the back of Bruce's head. Jones. Earl going in, Fashionu's there as well. Almost fell for fear. And still not a defensive thought once it gets into midfield. And why should there be, really? Chelskis. Ince. Keane. Giggs on the right this time. And now cutting in with a threat. Dublin looking to lay it back for Ince, underhit it slightly. Another step towards the treble for Manchester United, towards turning what even Alex Ferguson believes is impossible into reality. A superb performance here. Eric Cantona showing the quality with the opening goal, although Wimbledon will wonder about whether there should have been an offside against Andrei Kanchelskis. Paul Ince got the second with a stooping header from a corner, and the third emphasising just how much Wimbledon have been taken to the cleaners from Dennis Irwin. And United show yet again, whatever the approach from the opposition, they have the class to counter it. 32 games unbeaten, 23 of those matches won, a 7th in succession now. And as far as the FA Cup itself is concerned, a place in the quarter-finals for the first time since they last won the trophy 4 years ago. Wimbledon past masters at ruffling the feathers of the rich and famous, unable to produce the upset today. They finished second here by a street.
The second goal from Paul Ince from Ryan Giggs' corner just sewed the game up for us, really, sealed it for us. But the third goal, which everyone's since then has showed it on television, I don't know many times, they've talked about it, and it's one of these goals that you're just proud of to have been involved with a team that's produced it. Involved in about 8 players and 17 passes, and ending up with Dennis having playing a 1-2 with Paul Ince and beating 2 men and side foot at home. It's absolutely brilliant. Brilliant stuff.